Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about this, okay? And I want to be very, very clear when I'm talking about Jemele Hill in this situation. Because over the past few years, I've gotten receipt after receipt after receipt for Jemele Hill. And let me tell you something, it is bad. That's why when I got this take from Jemele, I was like, yo, I'm not even surprised she even said this. I'm not. I'm not surprised that Jemele Hill said something stupid. A couple days ago, there was the affirmative action thing got overturned, right? Where now, when you apply to a college, you are judged literally based off of whether you meet those requirements or not. Not based off your skin color, not based off your background, not based off of whether your great great grandpa was a fucking slave or not. No, you are based off of one thing. Do you meet the criteria to get into this school or not? I'm not even going to try and pronounce this lady's name, but she did have a big part into putting this into law, into reversing affirmative action. Rightfully so. She said, I told my daughter that today is a big day. They've ended affirmative action. Isn't it what you've been fighting for? Her daughter asked, and she said, yes. Now, while this photo was a bit cringe, this tweet in itself is cringe. I'm not going to deny that. I think it's a little unnecessary to be making a whole tweet and, but whatever. Look, it's a big day. We're back to normal again, at least when it comes to qualifying to get into college. Can't wait until she reads that you gladly carry the water for white supremacy and stab the folks in the back whose people fought diligently for Asian American rights in America. Now, first of all, there's a couple things wrong with this tweet that she tweeted out. First of all, not to get too political or whatever the fuck, but when did black people ever fight for diligently, first of all, for Asian American rights in America? Like, now she's just making shit up out of thin air, first of all. Second thing that's wrong with this tweet is that she's saying that Asian Americans carry the water for white supremacy. Are you serious? I don't know what kind of racist shit Jemele Hill, comes up with in her little head of hers, but this ain't it, Chief. Over the years, I have had so many times, so many gripes with her. I'm surprised she hasn't blocked me because I've tweeted at her before, actually. But the fact that she has an issue with this whole affirmative action being overturned thing, it doesn't surprise me at all because just like a lot of black people out there, especially out on social media, had a big problem with it. Jemele Hill is somebody who lives in delusion. We just saw just about maybe a month or so ago, she was complaining about how, Spotify needs to pay me as much as Joe Rogan. Well, first of all, Jemele, you need to have an audience for that. You don't have an audience for that. Second, Jemele, you are someone that should be even happy to even have a job at Spotify or a contract with Spotify, I should say, because you got booted and banned from ESPN. She got so woke that even Disney did not even want to back her, bro. And yet you're at Spotify asking for $100 million? You want to speak out racist bullshit and then have your hand out to the quote-unquote man at the end of the day? This is the dumb shit I'm talking about. Which is funny because 10 years ago, Disney looked at ESPN and said, oh, wait, what a nice sports show you guys got here. I love how you guys talk about sports. It'd be a shame if somebody came and bought you guys out and started hiring a bunch of black people that most of them don't know shit when it comes to sports. And we just want a virtue signal. And our number one candidate, Jemele Hill. Because at least I can't say shit about Stephen A. Smith without not knowing shit about sports. Because Stephen A. Smith, at least he knows sports. At least, yes, he spews out racism a lot. But on the other hand, he also knows his shit when it comes to sports. Jemele Hill is bad at both. And that's why ESPN had no value and no use for her. So then she decided, well, where can I go next to where I can still have a racist audience? and an audience that's not going to care to do their own research. They're just going to hold on to every single thing that I say and go out like little minions and spew out more racist bullshit into the world. Oh, right. Twitter. So she comes out here, and we've seen this same song and dance before. That's why I'm not surprised that Jemele Hill came out and did this. You guys don't believe me? Well, let's go back to 2021, where Jemele Hill says the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, that several states have enacted laws that allow motorist immunity if they hit protesters with their cars, is about this country's addiction to maintaining white supremacy at all costs. It's on brand and in line with who America has always been. So anyone with common sense, unlike Jemele Hill, knows what really went down with the Kyle Rittenhouse case, and that he's roaming free in these streets as he should be. So this is, again, Jemele Hill using that term, white supremacy, to further her case for spreading racism. Real racism. Now, let's go to May of 2022. So Jemele Hill decides to speak on guns. And she says, we don't need that. We actually never needed it. We knew the damage and most accepted the cost. When y'all realize this entire addiction to guns is rooted in white supremacy, protecting yourself from others and imaginary fears, y'all will finally get it. But I'm not hopeful. So the same, you know what? I was going to use a word, but I'm not even going to use it. I'm trying to get better at not using bad words. We'll see how long that lasts, but whatever. But again, Jemele Hill using the term white supremacy in order to talk about guns. So now, when it comes to the gun issue, it's white supremacy. Now, I got one. I was going to say I had one more example for you. But you know what? I'm not even going to do that one. Let's go back to this initial tweet. Because Jemele Hill, someone who has been on Twitter, someone who pretty much lives on Twitter to spew out all this bullshit, now saying that, oh, we need black people to no longer be judged on the work that they do, whether they meet the criteria. No. Jemele Hill, what she wants is for black people to be able to get into Harvard because they're black. I'm tired of these celebrities coming out here acting like they speak for me, asking for a handout, talking about me. Black people have suffered for so long. We need handouts everywhere. Fam, what? Here's my question about this whole affirmative action thing. Because the Jemele Hills of the world, the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, that should have no fucking say-so when it comes to this type of shit to begin with, they all think we should get handouts just because of who our ancestors are or were, just because of the color of our skin. That's what they think. That's how little they think of their own fucking race. Here's my question to you guys. Would the same thing apply to Army Rangers? Would the same thing apply to Navy SEALs? Are they now going to, look, we all know who the speaker for the military is, the dude in the fucking dress in the White House. But still, you really think they're just going to let Army Rangers accept anybody just because of the color of their skin? You think they're going to let Navy SEALs start letting a whole bunch of black people in just because of the color of their skin? Or Asians in because of the color of their skin? Or Hispanics in just because of the color of their fucking skin? I would hope not. I would hope that you have to meet a criteria. Still, after all these years, meet the criteria to get into those programs, to get into these educational institutions, whether it be these prep schools, whether it be private school, whether it be college. Stop asking for handouts. Jemele Hill is somebody that should not be speaking for anybody, not even her own kids at this point. Because we see that somewhere within the past few years, Jemele Hill has bumped her head on something. And has been, or maybe she's always just been this ignorant. Because that's exactly what it is. This is straight ignorance. Because she does not want to learn. She does not want to do her research. She does not want to use common sense. What she wants is special treatment just for existing. I mean, you're talking about black quotas at the end of the day. That's my whole problem with this thing, is that all the people crying about the affirmative action being overturned, you guys want black quotas. Let me tell y'all a little something about black quotas, by the way. Just a little wrestling knowledge for some of y'all, right? Back in the day, back in the 70s, there was a wrestler called Junkyard Dog. This dude would get booked all over the country. You want to know why these indie promoters, these indie promoters wanted to hire him? To meet a black quota. Now, the joke was on them because he actually ended up becoming a successful wrestler. Ended up going to WWE. But let me tell y'all something, man. These quotas, y'all think y'all special. Jemele Hill really thinks that she's somebody special. She really thinks that she's a quote-unquote journalist. She's not. And she never was. Because not once have I ever heard her speak any kind of sports knowledge. She definitely tried. But she never did her research. She's always piggybacked off of somebody else in the industry. Which is why ESPN knew, this fraud that we brought in 10 years ago, yeah, she's been exposed. So if she's exposed, we're exposed. Get her the fuck out. And that's what they did. Everyone who cries racism, when it has nothing to do with race or discrimination of any kind, to be honest, should have over 1 million fingers pointed back at them, saying, no, you're the racist. Because you're the one implementing that, you're not getting this position or you're not getting into this college because of the color of your skin. I would rather somebody judge me off of what I've done, the work that I put onto paper, my resume. I would rather somebody do that than to look at me face to face and say, because some instances you kind of got to do it. That's why you submit an application, you submit a resume before you do the in-person interview, which nowadays is just a Zoom call. But there's a reason for that, because they have to make sure no matter how you are presented physically, you can get the job done. You know what the fuck you're doing. Or in this case, when it comes to ESPN, you know what the fuck you're talking about. It's so bad that even Spotify doesn't even want Jemele Hill anymore. Because you want to know what she said when she came to Spotify with her hand out asking for Joe Rogan type money? And it said, excuse me, nigga, who the fuck are you? She cried out racism. It's like, no, fam, you only have 4 listeners. So no, we're not giving you Joe Rogan money. In fact, you will be lucky if we even renew your contract. I want to leave you guys off with this. You want to know what happens when you get paid 6 figures to be willfully ignorant on national television, and then you get booted and banned from that exact same company because you got exposed for not having real knowledge in sports and not having real knowledge when it comes to real life? You become comfortably ignorant. And ladies and gentlemen, Jemele Hill is the prime example of being comfortably ignorant. Am I overreacting? Let me know in the comments. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy Corn, and I am OUT.